Okay, so we're going to go for a test drive in the new 2019 V60, and it's kind of a dreary day, a little bit of rain off and on, but I'm going to go through a kind of a normal test drive route that I was familiar with before, just to kind of give you the highway and regular road driving experience. So I've noticed with this vehicle, has a pretty good sound system, by the way. This 360, you're watching a 360 video, so if you happen to be looking at a particular angle that's weird, move your phone around or click on the screen and move it around, because actually you control the view. It's a 360 video. And also it should change the audio if you're wearing headphones or whatever on which direction you're looking. So if you're looking more towards me, then maybe you'll hear me more, but if you're looking the other way, you might not hear me as well. I am wearing a microphone to kind of help out with that, but so just to give you an idea. So driving this vehicle for a couple days, it is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but it doesn't really, you can't really tell that, you know, it seems like a very linear as far as its acceleration. It is, you know, fundamentally a front-wheel drive vehicle, normally, unless it, you know, really needs the power of the rear wheels. The power steering, very precise and easy to turn. It has electric power steering, of course, and there's a lot of features. So I'll probably make a separate video explaining the learning curve. Like if you were to get this vehicle and you haven't had a modern vehicle, the average car on the road is 12 years old. So if you're trading in a 10, 12-year-old vehicle, getting in this car, there's a few things that you need to know just to make the process, the transition a little bit smoother. So probably make a separate video just showing you, like, here's the essentials that you want to go over and understand before you get behind the wheel and start fidgeting with them and having a interesting experience learning on the fly. So one of the things that I would say as far as right off the bat with the cruise control is that when I was pushing the up and down button, I was assuming that was the cruise control, like 1 mile per hour each press, but it's actually 5. If you just quickly press it, it'll go to the nearest 5. So 60, it'll go up to 65. If you're at 61, you press it, it'll go to 65. So it goes to the nearest 5 mile an hour. If you want to go just 1 mile an hour difference, so like if you want to go from 60 to 61 without going to 65, you will need to press and hold it, and it'll go up to the next one. You press and hold it again, it'll go to 62, that kind of thing. So it was a little bit strange, it's different from my vehicle. So when I started pressing the button a whole bunch of times to accelerate, I was actually going 5 mile an hour increments, and it was like, I went from 40 miles an hour set to like 90 miles an hour, and this vehicle started speeding up. I was like, whoa, this is, and then I tried to back it down, and then I went down to 30, and, just something that I had to learn on the fly while I was driving. So that's one of the examples of, something that you would want to know before you actually get behind the wheel and start using the cruise control. The adaptive cruise control is fantastic. Once it's sets your speed between you and the vehicle in front of you, and it also is able to slow down and stop the vehicle and then resume if there's a vehicle in front of you that's turning or slowing down or whatever, so that way, like, without even putting your foot on the brake, it will go ahead and press the brakes. So if you were to put your speed down, so like my experience with lowering the speed rapidly, it actually applies the brakes to slow you down. It doesn't just let off the accelerator. You'll actually see, and I experienced this last night, you'll actually see the brake lights illuminate in the rearview mirror. It actually applies the brakes, and it shows the brake lights, and it applies, like, your foot's not on it, but yet the brake lights are on because the system is applying the brakes. So I thought that was quite interesting. The seats are good. They're very good, but I would say that most of the Volvos have much better seats than these. But you know, they're more on the average. They're not what you would think of as Volvo seats, I guess, or at least in my mind. I always think Volvo seats are just fantastic, but these are more just on the average range instead of the fantastic range. The reading of the street signs. So that has this feature in which it has a camera up here, and as you're driving, it'll see street signs, and it'll see, like in my case right now, it's letting me know the speed limit on this particular road. So if you happen to not know what the speed limit is, and you didn't notice the sign, the speed limit sign, but yet you did pass one, the system will remember it and put it in front of you the whole time. It'll be on the heads-up display if you have that option chosen. It'll also be here on the screen, here with the gauges. So that way, you know, there's lots of times where if you're on a road you're not familiar with and you don't know what the speed limit is or whatever, and they don't put the speed limits close together, then you might not know or whatever. So I think that really helps out. It helps me out anyway. And the acceleration is unbelievable for a 4-cylinder. So it has over 300 horsepower, and I'm used to driving a V6 Challenger, which has 305 horsepower, so it's very similar as in the horsepower. And so this vehicle is not, I don't find it lacking as far as acceleration or anything like that. I mean, it really is right there. And you don't have to rev it up a whole lot to actually get that acceleration. It actually, you know, it's able to just get up to speed rapidly without you flooring it or giving, you know, a lot of whining out of the engine. It's really nice. Very surprising. It really did surprise me driving the vehicle. I was skeptical because 4-cylinders, especially just 4-cylinder with a turbo, it's still, you need to wind out that engine in order to get some acceleration. This, with the turbocharger and the supercharger is able to give you that low end power, and then the turbocharger takes up the higher end RPMs. So this is going downtown, you know, back roads, and just to give you an idea what it's like at these particular roads. And then we're going to take it on the highway, in which it's 70 miles an hour acceleration. So it's getting dark. The auto dim side mirrors and rear view mirrors are now darkened. Let's go ahead and see the map, and it is in night mode now. The map is. And last night I did a night video. You can check out my channel for that. Checking it out at nighttime, it's really, really impressive. With the Thor's hammer headlights and just all the LEDs everywhere, the front and rear fog lights, and the interior lighting is nice, especially with this light interior and the patterns. It's just a really impressive vehicle overall. When I first got in the vehicle, so right now it's not a big issue, but the very first thing I noticed, besides the HUD, there's a heads-up display reflecting off the windshield, but there's also a lot of these features here in the dash that are reflecting onto the windshield. So when the sun shines, which we don't have that problem now, when the sun is shining on the dash, there's a lot of reflections that is very distracting, at least for me anyway, driving the vehicle during the day when the sun's shining on the dash, which is a good portion of your driving. And the HUD was quite bright. I had to turn that down. I first turned it off because I'm already having a distraction with the other reflections, and then I turned it back on and lowered the brightness to the lowest position. Now it's much, much more tolerable. I'm getting more used to it, but I'm just not really used to a heads-up display anyway. I'm more accustomed to just looking at the gauges, so tend to not even look at it that much anyway. I spend more time looking at the reflections of the things on the dash than the actual heads-up display, being distracted by that. So like if you had a dashboard that had just a featureless, non-reflective surface, then it won't be such a big issue with reflecting. But since it has a speaker grill over here and then has the frame around the heads-up display, all that gets reflected very just bold in the windshield. It's very surprising. Now there is a little bit of road noise and just regular noise because it is a wagon. It's all open, so there's no separate trunk to consolidate or enclose some of the noise. It's all in here, so any kind of noise from the front and the rear will be in the vehicle, and hopefully the camera will pick up the noise levels in here, and also the little bit of a bumpy road, but not much, not bad at all here. The sunroof has been really nice. I don't know if you've noticed that yet, but it has this massive sunroof. And the front part opens, but I don't really... It's pollen season right now, and there's some rain and different things, so I haven't opened it and left it open driving. But usually, sunroofs, I leave the shade closed. Because it just... The sun is always, blaring on me and stuff, and I would typically leave that closed. In this case, I've left it open and it's been fine. I think there's some kind of anti-glare or has enough tint, or there's something about the glass that makes it more tolerable as far as having the sun shine in. It's really not bad. Now, it could be part of this part of the year that's not that hot, that kind of thing. But it has a shade that does not cover 100% of the light. It only covers, maybe 80% of the light. So light can still get in. So in the summertime when it's really hot, I'm curious as to how much of that is going to increase the heat inside the vehicle. Strong 4-cylinder going uphill like that. That's tough. So here we are at an entrance ramp. I guess they're doing road construction, where they literally have a stop sign on the entrance ramp, and there is tons of traffic here. So we'll see. Wait for the traffic here, and then we'll accelerate again. Give us another chance to pick up speed. Yeah, so that was on level ground, so that felt a little bit faster. Alright, got some ribs in the road. We got a going a little bit too fast right now. I didn't realize it changed the speed limit. I guess I should have known since it's a construction zone, but get back on the main road here. So now, back to the end of construction. Now the speed limit is 70, so we can get up to speed. So the cruise control, as fast as people drive on this road, won't really be able to show you the adaptive cruise control all well, but when you set it, like I have it now, it keeps you a set distance from the vehicle in front of you, and like I mentioned, it'll actually slow the vehicle down, which is fantastic. But here we are going 72. The RPMs are about 1900 RPMs, and it is smooth as glass. Relatively quiet too. And it does, you know, help you correct the steering. If you start to wander, it'll kind of tug. It's not anything that you want to rely on, but it will kind of tug every once in a while to keep you from going over the lane. And the brakes are nice. They're solid. It's one of those things where they're not grabby, but they're able to slow you down rapidly. So it has a really good feeling. There's a light all of a sudden turned, you know, yellow and red on me, and I gave it solid brakes, good press on the brakes, and it felt good. It felt like I had plenty more braking power left. And it handles corners well. There's no like significant lean or anything like that. Okay, so what do you think of this vehicle? Check my channel. I'm going to have lots of content. I've actually had this vehicle for a week to make videos, so I'm not like the average person to just like make one video. So I've got night videos, day videos. This is actually the second test drive. So this is a 360 test drive. I have another one with a GoPro, just first person view. So that way, some people like the 360, some people don't. So I wanted to include it just in case. And but overall, I think it's a great vehicle. And Volvo has a good name, and it's very stylish. I think this is the best looking. This and the V90 are just the best looking wagons that I've seen. I mean, yeah, pretty much ever. Because typically station wagons have this. I don't know. They just have a kind of a wonky look in my mind. But this one just really looks stylish, and I don't really see it as a wagon. I just see it as just a really stunning vehicle. So, just leave your comments in, comment section. Let me know what you think about this vehicle, and let me know, like, say, if I were to have, after looking at, if you've seen the content that I've made with this vehicle, and if you look at it and say, okay, well, you maybe overdid it with this stuff, maybe underdid it with this stuff, like, just have some kind of suggestions on what kind of content I should make with vehicles that I have for an extended period of time, because this is new to me. Typically I have like an hour and a half in the parking lot of a dealership to make a video, so I have a routine set for that particular situation. But this is a little bit different, so I'm just kind of brainstorming, trying to figure out what would be ideal for people online, like people that are shopping for cars, people who are interested in cars in any way. What would you like to see? Now, me doing donuts and driving the vehicle unsafe, or where it could potentially damage the vehicle, I'm not going to do anything like that. So it's got to be more realistic stuff, like, if you were test driving the vehicle, or if you're looking at it in person at a car dealership or whatever, what kind of things would you do, or what kind of things would like to look at, information wise? Let me know. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.